You've tuned in to the Top 10 Gardener with garden expert Ken Lain. Join him daily as he answers timely garden questions that are sure to make a difference in your gardens. Now, welcome your host, Ken Lain.
So last weekend was kind of a bust. So we had our 62nd spring open house. 62 years in business. I'm not 62, so I didn't start the business. Lisa's father did. And so my father-in-law started back in 1962, and we celebrate every spring. The kind of start of spring, it kind of gets us ready, gets us to where the place looks great. We fill it up with plants because you got a leading edge. You're just kind of starting that, especially the deciduous things that they lose their leaves through winter. Those are the things that bloom often the best in early spring. We load up with the forsythias and quince and lilacs and all these other spring bloomers. Wisterias, there's a new wisteria. It's white. It's magnificent. It smells so good. And the buds are ginormous. We load up the garden center. But it was kind of a bust. Last weekend, it was snowy, sleety, rainy. My poor growers. They live in greenhouses down at a little lower elevation. They came up to Prescott, graciously came here from all over the Southwest. And they were freezing. I had to give them clothes because they were not used to this kind of cold. Of course, the staff, all the Prescottonians were going, yeah, it's normal. It's just how spring is. But they weren't going. So traffic was a little light because it was pretty nasty. So we basically kicked the can to this weekend. We're going to have Spring Open House 2.0 this weekend. So the class, this weekend, the garden class, we're going deep into, let me see what that's going to be. Hold on, I'm trying to get there. If you want to see that, watersgardencenter.com. There's a class button right on the front, proper planting. So if you want your plants to grow fast, not just to sit there and look at you for years, but actually grow and thrive and expand, there's a technique. We're going to go deep into how to really plant shrubs, trees, evergreens, vines, that new wisteria that's white blooming. We'll show you how to plant that and just have it thrive for you. The 30th, that's going to be growing better peonies for spring. If you've wanted to dabble with perennial spring bloomers, start with peony because they're one of the longest lived peonies or flowers in the garden. You plant them where you're going to keep them for 50 years because they're going to compete with trees on their longevity. In fact, you could probably keep them going. If you divide them, you could probably keep them going for much, much longer. We'll go over the varieties. There are different varieties, colors, how to plant them. There's a technique to plant those where they take off and where maybe you can put them in containers, raised beds, that kind of stuff. That's the 30th. And then the first class of April, it's the 6th, lilacs for better fragrance. We've got 10 varieties of lilacs. We're going to share all the varieties, all the colors, the shapes, the heights, go deep into lilacs. That's the whole class schedule. Not all of it. Keeps going from there. Herbs and veggies, the whole thing. Take a look. If you're a Facebooker, go to the events page, website, watersgardencenter.com. Go to the class button. It'll be right there. If you're looking, you can find it. Every Saturday at 9:30, we have a class. They're free. We want you to be a better gardener. We want you to have success. We're not just selling plants here at Waters Garden Center. We're selling garden experiences, success, green thumbs, and that's learned communally. Gardening is very social, so we like to share that. And so I mentioned too that the book, if you're on the website, I did write a privacy screen book. So it's Privacy, Your Secret Garden, and the plants, how to space them, what varieties. It's maybe 50, 60 pages. It's not in depth, but it's all of our local stuff. It's not just Google regurgitated. It's actually written for us. It's our plants and how we plant it in our soil and how we fertilize it with our stuff. That's at watersgardencenter.com under the Learn button. Right at the top, you'll see Learn. It's right there. We try to make it easy because we want you to be successful. Throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Waters Garden Center, and we love talking to fans of the show.
If life is a bowl of cherries, why not make them the biggest, sweetest cherries ever?
Waters Garden Center is super excited to introduce our new organic fruit and vegetable plant food.
This fertilizer has the bonus of added calcium that gives fruit trees and veggies an extra boost to produce healthy, abundant crops.
Feed your plants now to help them thrive and grow more fruits than ever. And just $27 for a 20-pound bag.
Safe, natural, organic, fruit and vegetable plant food only at Waters Garden Center.
If you want a more fruitful garden, increased success in landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Top 10 Garden Podcast. Years of tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts are guaranteed to make your gardens nicer than ever. Listen to this podcast or read Ken's weekly garden column by visiting watersgardencenter.com. That's Waters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com. Thanks for tuning in.